Fairview was one of those towns where nothing bad ever happened, or at least, that's what people liked to believe. Streets were lined with oak trees, kids played baseball in empty lots, and every summer there was a pie-eating contest outside Johnson's Diner. People left their doors unlocked. They waved to strangers. It was the kind of place where everyone knew each other's business, and everyone trusted each other's kids to walk home from school alone. That trust was about to break forever. It started on a Thursday afternoon, just after 3 o'clock. The yellow school bus rolled down Maple Street, brakes squealing as it stopped at the corner. The bus doors hissed open, and a few kids jumped out, backpacks bouncing on their shoulders. Dogs barked from porches, screen doors slammed shut, and parents smiled as they waved. But Tommy Harris wasn't among them. He was supposed to be. Tommy was 7 years old, a quiet boy with blonde hair that stuck up no matter how much his mother tried to comb it. He had a habit of holding his backpack straps tightly and chewing on the ends when he was nervous. That day, he'd been wearing his favorite Spider-Man hoodie, the one with the sleeves just a bit too long. He never missed the bus. Never. When his mother, Claire, noticed he wasn't coming down the sidewalk, she thought maybe he'd stayed late for a school activity. She called the school. They said he'd left on time. Her chest tightened, but she told herself it was fine, maybe he'd stopped at a friend's house. But as the minutes turned into an hour, she started making calls. No one had seen him. By nightfall, police were knocking on doors. The streets were alive with flashlight beams cutting through the dark. Neighbors volunteered to search the woods just outside town. Claire joined them, walking barefoot through wet grass because she couldn't waste time finding her shoes. She shouted his name into the night until her voice cracked. The first night ended with nothing. The second night too. On the third day, the search parties thinned. People still cared, but their eyes began to shift when they looked at Claire, the way small-town eyes do when they start wondering what's really going on. Then came the fourth morning. Claire was standing at the kitchen sink when something made her look up. Out the window, across the yard, a small figure was standing on the edge of the grass. Her heart leapt into her throat. It was Tommy. She ran outside, calling his name, and wrapped him in her arms. But Tommy didn't hug her back. His arms hung limply at his sides. He was soaking wet, shoes gone, hoodie ripped at the hem. His skin was cold, not just chilly, but winter cold. "Where have you been? Who was with you?" she asked. He only looked up at her and said, "I walked home." His smile was too wide, too fixed. That night, Claire woke to whispers. She found Tommy sitting on the floor, facing the dark corner of his room. "Who are you talking to?" she asked. Without turning, he said, "The man in the wall." The days that followed were worse. Tommy wouldn't eat except plain bread. She caught him filling jars with dirt, saying, "He likes the dirt from here." Doors unlocked themselves. Lights flickered. At 3:07 a.m. Every night, her phone rang from an unknown number, only breathing on the line. One night, she found him trying to crawl behind the dryer. "It's okay, Mom," he whispered. "He wants me to stay with him now." The next morning, Tommy was gone. The bedroom window was open. On the wall, written in shaky, muddy letters, were the words, "I walked home again." Claire's hands shook as she traced the muddy words on the wall. The coldness of the damp letters seeped into her fingertips. She screamed his name and tore through the house, searching every room, every closet, even under the beds. Nothing. The front door was locked from the inside. The only way out was the open window in her bedroom. She called the police, her voice cracking. Officers came, searched the neighborhood, and reassured her they would find him. But Claire could see it in their eyes, that same quiet doubt she'd seen during the first disappearance. By nightfall, she was alone again. The house felt different now, heavier, as if the air itself was pressing against her skin. Every creak in the floor made her heart race. She left every light on. Around midnight, the phone rang. No caller ID. Her hand hovered over the receiver before she finally picked up. A child's voice whispered, "I'm home." Then silence. Claire screamed into the line, "Where are you, Tommy?" But the call had already ended. She didn't sleep. At 3:07 a.m., another call came. This time, the sound of slow, steady breathing filled her ear. Then, faintly, she heard another voice, deeper, male, whispering something she couldn't understand. The line went dead. The next morning, she noticed dirt tracked across the kitchen floor leading to the basement door, a door she hadn't opened in years. It was ajar. Slowly, she descended the stairs. The air grew colder, the smell of earth stronger. In the far corner, she saw a small jar half buried in the dirt floor. Inside was a clump of blonde hair. Her stomach churned. She stumbled back up the stairs, locking the basement behind her. But when she turned around, Tommy was standing in the hallway. His skin was paler than before, his eyes dull, almost gray. "You shouldn't have gone down there," he said, his voice flat. "He doesn't like it when people look." Claire's voice shook. "Who is he, Tommy?" Tommy smiled faintly. "The man in the wall. He found me first. Now he wants you too." Before she could react, every light in the house flickered and went out. In the pitch darkness, she heard shuffling footsteps, not from the floor, but from inside the walls. The sound circled her, moving closer. Tommy's voice was right beside her ear now, though she couldn't see him. "He's here." A hand, cold, bony, and impossibly long, brushed against her arm in the dark. Claire screamed and bolted for the front door, but it slammed shut before she could reach it. Something moved behind her, slow and deliberate. When the lights finally came back on, the house was silent. The front door stood wide open. Claire was gone. Weeks later, neighbors swore they could still hear faint knocking from the walls of the Harris house. And sometimes, at night, a barefoot boy with a Spider-Man hoodie was seen standing at the edge of the yard, smiling too wide.